expected darkness to accuse me, to list the things I'd done. But night arrived without a ledger, without a gun. It covered the field like forgiveness, soft and wide. I waited for the judgment, it never tried.
The stars came out like witnesses that didn't testify. They simply were where they belonged, against the sky. I've mistaken silence for abandonment too long, but the night stayed present all along.
I let the quiet speak. The night stayed longer than my fear, longer than my doubt. It didn't chase my shadows off, it let them walk about.
If love doesn't require daylight to be near,
then the night stayed longer than my fear. I brought my worries like confessions, laid them on the ground. The dark didn't fix a single one, still I felt found. I learned safety isn't answers or control, it's being held without conditions. Oh,
the moon slipped in and out of clouds, unashamed. I saw myself in borrowed light, not the same. I don't need to be complete tonight to remain. The night keeps incomplete things just the same.
the night stayed longer than my fear, and I stayed too. Still here, the sun leaned into evening, but nothing felt removed. The colors only softened, like they'd learned a gentler truth. I waited for the sadness that endings always bring, but the day kept all its meaning. It in everything. I've said goodbye too early, out of fear of pain, learning how to leave before love could remain. But the sky refused my panic. It dimmed without retreat, and I felt something heal in the way light leaves. Nothing was taken from me when the daylight changed. It simply learned another way to stay the same. If love doesn't disappear when it bends and moves, then nothing was taken from me. Nothing was removed. Loss is not always loss. Sometimes it is rest. Nothing was taken from me when the stars continued the story in a quieter light. If God remains in transition as much as in flame, then nothing was taken from me. Nothing changed. Night stayed kind. I learned to smile with iron lungs, breathe through pain, keep marching on. I shook the hands, I played my part, but carried wars inside my heart.
I tried to save myself with pride, called it strength, called it my side, but every mile I swore I won led me back to what you'd done.
Then truth cut clean through all my noise. A man is known by deeper choice. I carry the cross in my chest till you taught me how to rest. I laid it down saw the hill, I heard the cry, a love that chose to bleed and die. And all my weight, my guilt, my fear was finished there, forever clear.
If my life is borrowed breath, then take it all from birth to death. I don't stand on what I've done, I stand on what you've won. Worthy is the Lamb, the mighty King, the great I am. I carry the cross in my chest. Now I live in righteousness. I stand forgiven, redeemed, set free, because you carried it. You carried me. Every step till history ends, I'll live my life as your amends.
I thought healing would feel louder, like a victory or flame, but it felt more like loosening my grip on every name. Every label I was dragging, every past I called my own, started feeling lighter when I let it walk alone. There was no dramatic moment, no forgiveness scene, no sudden understanding of what it all should mean. Just a tired realization in the middle of a day that nothing really ended. I just stopped holding it that way. Let it fall, let it fall, let it fall, let it fall. The river didn't celebrate me for letting go. It just kept moving like it always knows. I watched the water take my reflection, break it into pieces of sky, and realize wholeness doesn't mean you never say goodbye. I didn't erase the damage, didn't rewrite the past. I just put the weight down and felt my shoulders last. Nothing ended in my life, no door slammed shut. I just stopped carrying what I was never meant to hold this much. Still here, lighter. Watch the world keep moving, like I missed a cue. Every headline felt like evidence I wasn't breaking through. But the land kept breathing evenly. No panic, no regret. It showed me silence isn't losing, it's death. I didn't fall behind, I fell quiet. Stop racing every down. I stopped trying to outlive it. I didn't disappear from life, I stepped inside it. I didn't fall behind. Trees don't measure seasons, they just change. I learned timing isn't something you can change. There's courage in choosing stillness when noise feels right. That's not weakness, that's sound. Death doesn't hurry, it sinks. I didn't fall behind, I finally arrived. Stop racing every day. I stopped trying to outlive it. I didn't disappear from life, I didn't fall behind. I used to rehearse my reasons like I owed the world my pain. Every version of my past called out my name. But the trees didn't need my story, didn't ask for proof. They stood tall without context and truth. I stopped explaining myself to the trees. They already knew how to stand. I learned worth doesn't come from history. It comes from where you land. I laid my story on the forest floor. Let it finally be. I stopped explaining myself to the trees. Leaves fall without defending. Still the roots stay strong. I learned release doesn't mean you were wrong. Some things don't need forgiveness, they need ground. And that's what I found. Presence doesn't argue, it stays. I stopped explaining myself to the trees, and I breathed. I learned worth doesn't come from history. It comes from where you land. I laid my story on the forest floor. Let it finally be. I stopped explaining myself to the trees. And I breathe. I kept asking life for clarity, like it owed me one, waiting for the moment everything would come undone into something explainable, clean and kind. But every answer I received just opened another line. Mountains don't explain why they stand, rivers don't defend their flow, meaning doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just grows. I realize the need for answers was tightening my chest, like uncertainty was failure instead of a test. So I stopped demanding conclusions, stopped closing every door, let the questions stay unanswered without calling it poor. The ending didn't solve my life or set it straight. It just let the question breathe, and that felt like grace. Carried my worry like a duty, like it proved I cared. Every night I held tomorrow like a prayer. But the field was wide and open, didn't ask my name. It just let me sit and breathe the same. The grass don't hold its yesterday, the soil lets go. I learned faith isn't clinging tight, it's knowing when to slow. felt your presence in the stillness, more than sound. That's where I laid my burden down. I laid my burden down in the field where the earth still trusts your plan. I didn't fix my whole tomorrow, I just let go of my hands. If you can hold the weight of mountains and the sea, then you can carry what's been breaking me. The sunset didn't promise answers, still it stayed. I realize peace isn't understanding, it's being held anyway. You met me where my striving ended, without demand, and took the load I couldn't stand. Here I am, Lord, nothing left. I laid my burden down in the field and felt my spirit breathe. I don't know how the road unfolds, but I believe if tomorrow needs my strength, you'll supply. Tonight I rest beneath your sky. I lay me down in peace. Watch the trees in early morning, branches worn and bare. Still they reached without a question, like hope lives in the air. They didn't know the coming weather or how long they'd stand. Still they lifted up their branches like hands.
I've been measuring my worship by how strong I feel. The praise was never about certainty, it's about what's real. The trees don't need a reason,
still lift their hands. Even after the storm, they don't wait to feel restored before they respond. If creation still remembers who you are, then I will lift my hands to Lord wherever I am. The roots don't see the sunlight, still they trust the call. Faith doesn't need full vision, just enough to fall into promises older than my doubt. You've been holding everything all around. Let me praise without proof. The trees still lift their hands, so will I. In the waiting, in the breaking, in the unanswered why. If the forest still believes you are good, then I will lift my hands to Lord, because you are standing still. I've heard sermons from the high ground where the air is thin and clear, but my deepest conversations happen when you met me here, where the shadows feel familiar, where the road forgets my name. Still you call me just as gently in the ache.
The valley doesn't hide your presence, it reveals it slow. Every broken echo carries what I need to know, that you're not louder on the mountain or weaker down below. The valley knows your name, Lord, I know. The valley knows your name, it's heard you say mine too. In the dust and disappointment, you still come through. I thought you lived in victory songs and perfect faith, but the valley knows your name and you stay. River bends around resistance, never breaks its call. I learned surrender isn't losing, it's letting myself fall into arms that shaped the canyon. Before I ever cried, you were God before my questions, and after every why, even here, especially here, the valley knows your name, and it's not afraid of my weakness or my waiting, or the prayers I never prayed. If this Lord valley knows your name, and I'm okay. I lift my eyes, not to escape, but to trust.
I search for peace like an object, something stable I could keep. But every version I imagined required me to sleep. Through parts of myself I didn't like or didn't understand, I kept trying to shrink my life so peace could fit my hand. But the earth doesn't find peace by erasing storms. It just makes enough room for different forms. I watch the horizon hold everything, light and rain, and realize peace isn't silence, it's space without chains. I didn't find peace waiting for me like a prize or proof. I found room to carry contradiction without choosing sides of truth. Joy didn't replace my sorrow, they learned to coexist. I didn't find peace, I found room. And I can live with this. I'm not finished. I'm free enough. I carried this story carefully, afraid of saying too much. Every detail felt fragile under human touch. I rehearsed the explanation, the moral, the close. But every time I tried to land it, the meaning thinned out and froze. Then I noticed how the night tells stories without a voice,
How stars don't summarize themselves, they just exist and let you choose. I realize completion isn't language, it's permission to stop, letting the quiet do the work. I couldn't on the spot, so I let the quiet finish the story. I enter the feeling like a room I planned to cross quickly. Touch the walls, name the corners, leave politely. But the air felt thicker than expected. Every step took time, like the feeling wasn't passing through me, I was passing through it.
What scared me wasn't the sadness, it was the detail, the way memories sharpen when you don't bear. I noticed how pain has layers, not just weight,
and how staying doesn't drown you. It teaches you how to wait. I stop resisting and listen. The feeling didn't disappear, it reorganized what once felt heavy. Learn where to lie. I didn't exit stronger or perfectly repaired. I stayed in the feeling until it changed shape and let me breathe there.
left the noise behind me like an old skin I outgrew. Found a place where silence feels alive and new. Tall grass waves like secrets, no hurry, no demand. Every sound knows its place in this land. This is where silence grows tall, stronger than fear, higher than walls. I don't feel small here at all. This is where silence grows tall. I used to fill the emptiness with words I didn't mean. Now I let the quiet show me what I've been. There's courage in the waiting, faith in letting go. The loudest truths are planted slow. If the soul needs shelter, it's built of calm. This is where silence grows tall, teaching my heart how to fall into grace without control. This is where silence grows tall. If the soul needs shelter, it's built of calm. This is where silence grows tall, teaching my heart how to fall into grace without control. This is where silence grows tall. I don't need to speak at all. Silence grows tall.